This is our video for Chapter 6, Lesson 7, and it is going to be a quick one. So this is about solving inequalities using multiplication and division. So when we talk about solving inequalities, you've already done this with adding and subtracting. We're just adding the element of multiplying and dividing. Seems easy enough, but there is something that's a little bit tricky. Here's your big important note. This is part of your note packet. It says when solving inequalities, if we multiply or divide by a negative number, we have to remember to flip the inequality sign. This is one of those goofy rules that we have to remember, and it's not a hard thing to do. It's literally just hard to remember at times. So right down here I have all 4 examples from your page 3 in your note packet. And I just want to look at them and determine which ones we will have to flip. So remember, the rule is if we divide or multiply by a negative number, then we end up having to flip our inequality sign. So look at number 1 here. 5v is greater than or equal to 40. When we solve this, we're going to divide both sides by a positive 5. So we do not have to flip that one. Number 2, if we want to solve this, negative 12g is less than 48. We are going to divide both sides by negative 12. So this will have to be flipped. Maybe you want to make this note for yourself for when you're doing these tonight in your assignment. Number 3, when we solve this inequality, we're going to have to divide both sides by negative 2. We're dividing by a negative. So number 2 will have to be flipped. Number 3 will have to be flipped. And number 4, to solve this inequality, we will have to multiply both sides by negative 3. So we are now multiplying by a negative number, which means we will also have to flip the inequality sign when we solve this one. So we're going to do 1 and 2 together today. You're going to be responsible for 3 and 4. And let's just pay really close attention when we are doing this to make sure that we know when to flip and when it's not really necessary. So here's my number 1. I already told you, we already figured out that we are not going to have to flip when we solve this, and we'll see why in just a second. So it says 5v is greater than or equal to 40. So to solve this, we need to get rid of that 5, and to do that, we're going to divide by 5, and we balance it out on the other side. We divide both sides by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, which leaves us with 1v. That's what we want, all isolated on the left-hand side. Bring down your greater than or equal to sign, and then 40 divided by 5 is 8. So we did not have to do any flipping because we divided by a positive. So when we graph this, we're going to put a closed circle over the 8, and we're going to shade to the right. Shade to the right. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. Negative 12g is less than positive 48. Let's get my train tracks into position here. Now, to solve for g, we have to divide both sides by a negative 12. Divide by negative 12 on that side, divide by negative 12 over here. We are dividing by a negative. See the negative here, the negative here? That tells me that I have to flip my inequality sign. Less than becomes greater than. Negative 12 divided by negative 12 is positive 1, so that leaves me with positive 1g left. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. 48 divided by negative 12 is negative 4. So, open circle around the negative 4. Greater than sign tells me to shade to the right. And there's my graph. Now let's check this one just to make sure that flipping was an important step for me. So I'm going to just quickly check a number greater than 4. An easy number that's greater than 4 is the number 0. So if I substitute 0 in for g, I get negative 12 times 0, and I'm hoping that result is less than positive 48. Okay, negative 12 times 0 is 0, and 0 is less than 48, so that's good. That's what we were hoping for. If we had forgotten to flip the inequality here, if we had gotten g is less than -4, that would have been a number like -5. So if I would test -5 just for my own personal, check here, you do not have to write this down. But if I check -12 times -5, negative times a negative is a positive. 12 times 5 is 60. And I would get 60 is less than 48. So we can see that that's not a true statement. That is very, very false. That's why we ended up having to flip our sign, because when we divide by that negative, some things end up changing for us. So this was our correct solution. G is greater than -4. And we do have to remember that when we divide by a negative, we flip the inequality sign. That's it for today. Here's your assignment. I want you to do questions 3, 4, and 5 on page 3 of your notes. I also want you to do your Google form. It's a really quick video today. Quick homework. Come prepared tomorrow so that we can practice in class and get ready for that test coming up.